Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a loaded show as we break down some of the biggest developments in the Hawks universe this offseason. So we're going to dive into what's been recently happening with Jaylen Johnson, who's making some serious noise heading into next season as we hope for a fully healthy season for the first time ever. And then we're going to look at Zachary Risachay's possible physical transformation, something that's been a large topic on Hawks Twitter recently, and explore what Atlanta might do with its 2 first-round picks. Could an outside shooting specialist be on the radar? And what's the real draft strategy when you've got multiple roster needs like a team like the Hawks do? So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, let's start with some fantastic news, I guess, for Hawks fans. Jaylen Johnson is officially back in the gym. Only 4 months after undergoing his season-ending shoulder surgery. Johnson has been working closely recently with NBA trainer Chris Johnson, not related, who's trained stars like Jimmy Butler and guys like Ben Simmons. Early footage does show not a whole lot. We haven't gotten to see many videos, but in the pictures that Jaylen and Chris have posted, it seems like they have been doing some good work. So let's not understate this, though. His absence last season hurt. It hurt Atlanta in several ways. The Hawks' on-off splits over the past 2 seasons do certainly make it clear. When Johnson is on the floor, Atlanta plays faster, more efficiently, and most importantly, significantly tougher defensively. His athleticism, his court vision, and improving outside shot had him trending towards a true breakout before the injury. I mean, he has broken out as a player, but someone with Johnson's potential continues to show glimpses of something even better, which is just insanely impressive. So there's a lot of quiet optimism that this could finally be the season. He plays a full healthy campaign, and I feel like as Hawks fans, we can't wait to see what he can really do. I mean, we could see his first All-Star appearance. If that happens, Atlanta really might have their second star in the building. So keep your eye on the recent updates with Jaylen and see what happens going forward, because it's going to get exciting as we near his return to action. So now let's talk about the French forward Zachary Risachay, last year's number 1 overall pick, and the probable long-term piece for the Hawks. He's been posting some workout footage, and it's impossible. It is literally impossible to ignore one thing. He has bulked up. Compared to his summer league debut all the way at the beginning of last year, the difference is truly night and day. He's added visible upper body muscle. Looks like he's improved his core strength and looks more explosive in these lateral drills that we've been seeing. It's been some limited footage, but from what we have seen, Risachay looks like he is filling the margins. This is fantastic news for his defensive identity. He has all the tools to become such a great switchable, disruptive wing defender in the NBA. However, with bulking, there is a cautionary tale here. And I don't know if you guys remember a couple seasons ago with Saddiq Bey in Atlanta. Bey was an absolute incredible three-point shooter in Detroit. When he came to Atlanta, he bulked up and he did lose some of that shooting fluidity. Atlanta simply cannot afford for Risachay to follow that path because his floor spacing and his shooting mechanics are seriously vital for his fit next to Trae Young and whoever else remains in the starting 5 going forward. That's obviously the Saddiq Bey situation is obviously a rare one, but I think it's left Hawks fans with a little PTSD moving forward, seeing one of their main guys bulk up like this. But so bulk is good, but balance is certainly better. So let's hope his training staff keeps that in mind. And I am seriously sure they will. So one area where even with how awesome Risachay has been, one area that the Hawks are still lacking, especially in the second unit off the bench, is consistent outside shooting, and that opens the door to a question that fans should be asking. Should the Hawks target an outside shooting specialist this offseason? Probably for the second unit, but maybe even someone who could pop in as a starter every now and then if someone were to go down. Let's look at some of the options going into next season. So, first of all, in the draft, names like Trey Johnson, though that one is obviously going to require a trade up. He's not going to be there at 13. Con Kneppel, who is a skilled shooter and high IQ player, who displayed incredible efficiency last season at Duke. He's likely not going to be there at 13. But if he were to fall, which is possible, Atlanta would have an absolute steal on their hands. Another guy like Walter Clayton Jr., the point guard out of Florida, who's a three-point sniper who's probably going to be available at pick 22. And out of UConn, Liam McNeely, who is a do-it-all wing with some decent shooting touch, who would be there in the 13 to 22 range. So he would fall into Atlanta's hands wherever they chose to pick him. And then outside of the draft, we've got free agency. Some guys like former Hawk Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, those two Pistons who are probably going to be re-signed by Detroit due to their incredible impact in Detroit making their first playoff appearance in some time this season. And then also Seth Curry, who has always lit the Hawks up in the playoffs. Those are some three guys that would offer instant floor spacing, who are high-volume three-point shooters who would fit right into the offense. And then there's some low-cost veterans, some guys like maybe Doug McDermott or Joe Ingles. And by the way, all these guys I'm listing off are unrestricted, meaning no team would be able to match Atlanta's offer if we were to go for them. And then keep in mind that Atlanta only has the non-taxpayers mid-level exception, which is up to $12.8 million. They can sign whoever they want, however many people they want. So obviously the low-cost veterans like McDermott and Ingles. Some other guys are Gary Trent Jr. and then Atlanta's own Karis LeVert. If the Hawks are able to re-sign LeVert, that'd be absolutely awesome because he fit in perfectly as soon as he came over from Cleveland. Both of those guys do bring in some combo scoring and experience to the group, so they would certainly fit well with the identity that the Hawks are trying to maintain. Now, if Atlanta were to get aggressive, there are some guys on the trade block. Well, not necessarily on the trade block, but looking at some of these rumors and some of these guys that the Hawks have been linked to, there are three guys that kind of make sense. One that I actually saw in an article the other day is Klay Thompson. Yes, Klay Thompson. If the Mavericks were to, look to gain more of a defensive identity, if they were to follow what Nico Harrison has been preaching over the past several months after trading Luka Doncic, a guy like Terrence Mann and something else going to Dallas in exchange for a guy like Klay, who is at the tail end of his career, but is also still a very effective three-point shooter, could be a good fit. He was brought into Dallas to play alongside Luka, and then we obviously know what happened there. You could probably do the same thing with Trey. He would be a perfect fit. It's just depending on if Atlanta were to bring him in, and if the Mavericks would even entertain moving him. Another guy is a sneaky good catch and shoot option. AJ Green out of Milwaukee shot 42% from three this season. And if the Hawks were to make an absolute splash for Giannis, or even still just communicate with Milwaukee regardless, AJ Green is someone that the Hawks should have on their radar because he's just an awesome three-point shooter and he's a high-volume shooter but a low-volume guy, so someone that could easily fit alongside Trey. And then another guy out of Los Angeles is Gabe Vincent, former Heat standout. He's more of a combo guard. He can play the one, he can play the two, although he'd be a little undersized. He very much stretches the floor and would be a good fit in Atlanta if the Hawks and Lakers were to open those trade packages. Like I was talking about it in a few videos ago where I reported that the Lakers had shown interest in Onyeka Okongwu at this past year's deadline. If Pelinka is still in contact with the Hawks, that is something that could come up. Atlanta's bench needs to be more dangerous. The offense always stalls without Trey on the floor, and obviously getting Jaylen back is going to help. But adding a reliable shooter could finally solve that and boast that second unit. So moving on to some draft strategy, the Hawks have 2 first-round picks this season, as we all know, 13 and 22. And while they've been linked to guards, wings, bigs, literally everyone, the question does become, should they use one of these picks to add another guard, which is something that is obviously not the favorable option to Hawks fans, or should they double down on size and get two long prospects that could fit alongside this core? Atlanta's backcourt is currently loaded. It includes Trey and Dyson, and then off the bench, we've seen guys like Kobe Buffkin, who is expected to finally be in the rotation this next season, and then Karis LeVert probably returning in free agency, as the Hawks have shown interest in bringing him back. While Buffkin and Dyson Daniels offer upside, no one's really secured that backup point guard role. Referring to Buffkin, Dyson's locked in at that starting two. However, there are questions with Atlanta's guard depth. So do you use a pick, say 22, to draft a steady option like Walter Clayton Jr. out of Florida to anchor the second unit? Or, would it be smarter to sign just a veteran point guard in free agency and use the draft to load up on size and defense and to develop these guys? Because I don't even know if Atlanta would want to bring in two rookies. So if you're doing that, one of those guys is projected to be like a project guy, and then maybe one you can stick into the rotation. But even then, it's like, Atlanta's focusing on making the leap going into next season. So let's be honest. Atlanta's new blueprint has to revolve around putting as many defensive-minded, switchable wings and bigs around Trey as possible. That's how you survive the playoffs, and that's what has shown when we're looking at Trey's career. So if any of these guys are available at 13, any of these big guys, the Hawks would probably be wise to take one, then use 22 to maybe grab that complimentary guard like Walter Clayton, or just use it to trade into next year's draft class, which is probably more stacked than this one is. Both are incredible draft classes. So to sum it up, Jaylen Johnson's return could redefine this roster. This is something that we're super excited for. And then Reza Shea is obviously showing signs of maturity, and he's really locked in this offseason, focusing on making that second-year leap that we talked in the last video. And the Hawks have options in the draft, in free agency, and on the trade market to reshape the bench and improve the spacing on the floor. The 2025 season is going to be pivotal for Atlanta, with these potential trades that are still in the background, and then, this fan base that is, desperate for postseason relevance, which is absolutely fair. Every move from here on out matters. And so let me know in the comments, who do you want the Hawks to target with picks 13 and 22? Should they go all in on defense and switchable bigs, or should they find that next sharp shooting guard in the second unit? So if you guys like the video, make sure to please subscribe to Hawks Latest. Once again, I am Zach Langley. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.